Hello friends, welcome to Akulmek Live. I'm Kanchan Verma, and today yet again we are taking you to a very interesting city, and we have an interesting guest on our panel today for this discussion, and he will be discussing our great connection with that particular city of the world, which is one of the cosmopolitan city and a great city. So stick around to this episode till the end. You will find many more information about the city. Welcome back, and today we are going to a very interesting city, and our esteemed guest is taking us to that particular city, and I will definitely ask him where he is taking us. So I would like to welcome Mr. Sitesh Srivastav, who is an IT professional. He has a deep interest in radio broadcasting. So welcome to the show, Sitesh. How are you doing?
Kombamba Kanchan-san, Genki desu ka? That means good evening, Kanchan. And today I would like to take you and our viewers to a famed world-class city which I was destined to meet my own.
Very nice.
Tokyo.
Okay. To Tokyo today, and it is one of the interesting city of the world, and definitely many people eager to go to this city and work there. Many people work there. So, what is your experience with the city?
Well, what best today to tell you that Tokyo is waiting for the Olympics to happen from next month. And despite the pandemic, the Japanese resilience is on the show again, where they say that we will go ahead with the Olympics. And that is one of the small revelations about the Japanese society that I got to see when I went to Japan in Tokyo, and I lived there. And I lived there for almost 6 years of my life. 6 years of my precious moments in Tokyo. So Kanchan, how have you been? Would you like to go to Japan with me?
Definitely, I'm very well, and I really am eager to come out of the house from social distancing. I'm really eager. So take me to the Tokyo.
Well, Kanchan, so Tokyo, as we all know, this is not an unknown capital of the world, one of the greatest financial centers, the heart and soul of Japan, the place which brings us to great innovations, great developments, and also all of this in the last 70 years, in the 70 years of the modern history after Japan was defeated in this World War II, when the bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki happened. So it is very remarkable to come to Tokyo and see how the soul of a country comes together and makes it great once again in this world. And I had a great chance to be there. And I thought, no, I can't sustain here for more than 6 months. And I stayed there for 6 years. And I loved every moment of it. And I saw, going from India, I felt that it is heaven on earth. And this is the medal that I gave Tokyo, or probably Tokyo gave me. So its journey has been amazing. It has been really historic, personally as well as professionally. And I have learned a lot, many things from this city. And from this city, I saw the Japanese culture.
Let's find out what is the history of this city, and this is one of the premium city of the world. So how it originated, what are little history of the city?
Well, if you go back to, let's not go back to the ancient history of this place, but I am more interested in the modern history of maybe 2, 3, 4 centuries before. Uh, if you see there around 1800s time, it was a not landlocked, the locked country Japan, the famed country Japan, which was not allowing ships going through the Pacific to harbor in the Tokyo Bay or the Osaka port. And it was all famed that this is a self-sufficient country, and Tokyo was a pride of that land. Only somewhere around end of 1800s, where it was open to the Western countries, the US and the UK, and then people saw from the outside world. Then they saw the place that we know as Tokyo. Actually, it is Tokyo, but we from the different parts of the world, we call it Tokyo. And it's a very, very bustling town, as much modern, as much ancient, as much medieval, and it is a cosmopolitan where one can find all kinds of indulgences, whether it is learning, whether it is earning, whether it is entertainment, fun, and the humility of the Japanese people. And great bustling Indian community over there, which I discovered, and lots of memories that come to my mind today. I'm really unsure whether I would be able to cover everything in one episode, Kanchan.
Well, I've heard a lot about religious places and political places in Tokyo, but I also heard that the nightlife of Tokyo is also awesome. So, tell us, what are the places we can visit in Tokyo once we visit this country, Japan?
Well, Kanchan, I am kind of unauthorized, travel evangelist for Japan and Tokyo especially. Whether it is a 2 days itinerary or a 2 weeks itinerary or a 1 week itinerary, I can tell you all how, when, how much money, where to stay, how to go about it. And this place, the city Tokyo, is surrounded by some great suburbs. Each of those suburbs have their distinct cultural importance in the Japanese society today. And it is also one of the densest population in the country. And we have seen the Tokyo Tower. We have seen a latest Sky Tree, which was made somewhere around 2015 or so. It was ready. And then there are a lot of temples in the city, the Shinto temples, the Buddhist temples in the city. And it has also famed the Japan metro train network inside the Tokyo city. And my special affection for Japan started with the Bollywood movie Love in Tokyo. That was somewhere in 1964 or 66. I hope you have also seen it, Kanchan. So the songs of that movie, they were so iconic. It just got imprinted in my mind. But I never knew that I would ever visit Japan. As the luck would have it, I visited Japan, and then I saw that movie many times in Japan again. Love in Tokyo was by Joy Mukherjee and Asha Parekh. And that was the first movie made with between India and Japan. And I was so enamored by it that I translated those songs in English, Kanchan, to explain the Japanese people about those songs, that the movie songs made impact. So Tokyo as such is, as I said, it's a metropolitan city, and it is surrounded by great suburbs, very, very rich suburbs, very, very quiet suburbs. And the best way is to see it by foot, as I always say, and also the metro train. The public transport is amazing. You don't need to have a car for yourself to drive around. And of course, Tokyo Tower which is known all over the world. Looks like sometimes that you are in front of Eiffel Tower, Paris. But it is a hallmark. It is a hallmark. And then there are some great, architectures, buildings that we can see in the Shinjuku district, in the Marunouchi district, in the Odaiba reclaimed islands, just outside of Tokyo. And then there's a great city called Yokohama next to the Tokyo. And then there are for the international visitors, you can also see a German village over there. You can go and see how the German villages are. And one great attraction is the bullet trains, which they call Shinkansen.
Well, at this point of time, I want to ask 2-3 things. First is, you mentioned religion. You mentioned temples. You mentioned Buddhist temple. So, what religion is to Japanese people? Because here it is something very, very big thing for Indians. So, I just want to understand how they react to their religion and other religions.
Well, when I reached Japan, I never thought that this country or the people would be so much of religious people. But I was taken by shock when I saw during the New Year's Day, lots of Japanese, almost all of Japanese, they go to the temples. In the last week of December, in the 1st of January, which is a holiday in the country, they go to all the temples. And that's where I realized that I need to understand the religious aspect of this society. And I was, told, I saw there are two main religions, Shintoism, and the second one is Buddhism. So Buddhism in Japan did not reach from India directly. It traveled from India to China, and from China it reached to Japan. So the Buddhism that we see in Japan is influenced by the Chinese sect or the followings of the Buddhism. And then there are more very popular Buddhism sects. Nowadays, actually, there's one very popular is Nichiren Buddhism. And there is one great international community called Soka Gakkai, SG. They also follow up. I think it is Nichiren Buddhism there. And so when I say these religions, Shintoism or Buddhism, it is basically Buddhism is like a middle path. So extremes are not seen. The religion is separate from the politics. The religion is separate from the administration. Its influence is not seen. And I think that is one of the great reasons for Japanese success, Japanese industrial success or economic success. Religion is a very, very private matter in Japan. People don't discuss about it. It is not taken, very lightly to talk about religion in Japan. They also don't ask and they don't entertain these questions also. It's a very, very personal matter. And I think that's how they have kept their progress and their religion two different things.
Well, when we are talking about Japan and here in India and elsewhere in European countries or in US, we see ninjas and we see katanas, we see long films of katanas. So these kind of traditions are still popular in Japan.
Well, I think the traditions with the Japanese people, as I saw in Tokyo, culture is the utmost thing that they hold very, very close to their hearts. Culture, and second thing is their language, Japanese language. These two are non-negotiable things in Japan. Whether they become modern, whether they become anything, the culture and the language. And that is something I feel is one of the core of their success. the traditions are seen, if the kind of festivals they have. I remember Tanabata festival, Hinamatsuri festival, and a lot of other such festivals. These are so close to the culture, and so close to the culture. At the same time, they are able to mix it with the modern technology, modern aspects, modern outlook, and assimilating the world uh, themes as well. But these two cultural traditions are non-negotiable in Japan.
Well, if anybody plans to go to Japan, or I mean Tokyo, so what is the maximum time he requires to visit all the places and enjoy the visit?
As I said, you can ask them to connect with Sitesh. I can give them a 2 days itinerary to 2 weeks, 2 months, and 2 years of itinerary as well. But I must say, and I keep telling people, my friends, my colleagues, my customers in India, in UK, in South Africa, I have told them, one place in this world before you die, you must visit Tokyo. You must visit Japan. And I'm telling you, Kanchan, when people go, they come back, they hunt me down, and they ask me for a coffee, and they say, thank you that you asked us to go to Japan. And I would say leave August, month of August. It's a summer time, 1 month. So better time is to go to the Sakura season, or the autumn season. So Sakura season is also called Golden Week, which comes around the last week of April and the first 2 weeks of May. The whole country is decked with sakura flowers. Sakura is chrysanthemum. It's the national flower. The whole country is decked in those flowers. There is a great tradition of going out and sitting, beneath the sakura trees, and then with their families, and have the flowers falling and enjoying. The another great time is the autumn time. That is somewhere around October and around the end of November, when the whole country goes completely autumn colors, fall colors, golden, orange, reddish, and those are the great times to be in Japan. But again, Tokyo as a city is a place which is evergreen, ever inviting. And I have met people who have only come for Disneyland, or to see Disneyland. Some people have only come to experience the bullet train, which is Shinkansen. In the morning, you can sit in a train and travel to 800 kilometers in 2 hours' time, spend the whole day there, and come back in the evening and have a cup of coffee again with your family or friends. So some people go there only for the cultural reasons, and some people are looking for anime. Anime. All those TV channels that children see, the graphics. So it is anytime city. Tokyo is anytime city. And I know you will ask me about food, so I will tell you.
Especially food for vegetarian people.
Yes, Japanese also have a rich tradition of vegetarian food, and I have seen it personally. But it is a lot of boiled food, a lot of with just boiled and salt, with very minimum of oil. Of course, Indian food is available with Indian restaurants around the city. When I was there, I can think of almost like 400, around 400 or 350, 400 Indian restaurants in Tokyo itself. So food is never a problem. Food is never a problem. The only thing is that you would have to ask for it. You have to find it. So Indian restaurant, you will get it very easily. But if you try it out in a Japanese udon, you can try it out. is the sweets, Japanese sweets. So it is a foodie's delight only if you experiment.
Well, we have traveled to you and find out that what is the culture and what are the places we can visit in Tokyo. So, what is that one place which you just recommend not to leave while visiting Tokyo?
Well, I as always, I like to see the history. I like to, see the historical aspects of the country. And that is what drives me again and again. So I think there are a lot of museums that I want to see. The Emperor's Palace that I want to see, and of course Tokyo Tower, and then Sky Tree, and there are numerous places within 100 kilometers range of Tokyo, which one can go and see what is the fame of this place in last 200 years or 250 years or so. And Indian Embassy in Tokyo is at a very, very beautiful place called Yurakucho. There are some great gardens around. Shinjuku is a great neighborhood. Ginza is a great neighborhood. And as I said, a lot of model villages are in and around Tokyo to go and see. And then there is hop on and hop off bus as well. So you can see some sakura behind me as an image. This is in the Golden Week that one can see across the country. And these are the autumn colors that is decked across the Japanese landscape. And this is important to understand that there's no one place that I can recommend. There's no one place, because Tokyo, every station, every suburb has got a history to tell. People are ready to talk to you. The humility of people, when we realize, do these people still exist on this planet? And that is the experience that I carry with me. And you can say I carry a portion of the soul of Japan with me every time I'm around.
I've been discussing different cities with you every week, and I come to know that Banaras is also one of the city which is very close to your heart. Now, I have also realized that Tokyo is also a very city which is very close to your heart. Both the cities are sitting in your heart at the moment. So, what you will say, maybe describe Tokyo in 2 or 3 words?
Visit it once and come back, and you will thank me. Not have any incident which will not impact you. I have lost money in the local train, and I have thought that I will never get it back, and I got it back with goosebumps. I have lost left passport in a public transport, and I have got it back. And the humility is something that is to learn for all of us. To achieve what we want to do, we don't need to be in a rat race. That is the ultimate learning that I carried back with me when I came back. And the way the people live there are lessons to be learned. And those lessons are about collective living, community living, where they believe in their leadership, they believe in their nationalism. And just to tell you, you go to the electronic district, which is called Akihabara inside in Tokyo, which is supposed to be Asia's biggest electronic market. You ask for a phone, they will show you an iPhone. They will always show you a Sony or a Panasonic phone. You ask for a car, they will never show you a Mercedes. They will always show you a Toyota. And that is the nationalism I talk about, being proud about their products. They will never go for cheap and low value products. And nationalism is seen through everything that they do. Country, but their hearts are large and their self-respect is bigger than the Everest, that I can tell you. Go for it.
Well, as usual, it is so lovely to talk to you today and listen all the feelings you have. You're pouring all the feelings which you have for this particular city because you live there and you have a special connection with this city. So we'll be meeting again with the same enthusiasm, with the same zeal for other city. And I'm sure you are the best person to describe a city. So till then, bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.